Hello, good evening, detectives one and all, and welcome to our 10th Moonstone Murders live-ish. For those who are new to the stream, allow me to introduce myself. I am Inspector Jonathan Rutherford, and I'll be assisting you in this evening's case of Bippity, Boppity, Buried. It's not quite our conventional thing that we do here at Moonstone, but instead, I've set off to the mystical kingdom of Emmerson as a royal ball was being held. As the clock strikes 12, well, we all know how it goes. Cinderella's dresses turn to rags, and a safety hazard in the form of a shoe is left on the stairwell. At midnight, Cinderella may have met her Prince Charming. However, this evening, another princess has met her maker. Upon the 12 tolls of the bell, a scream is heard from the drawing room as Princess Aquaria has been found dead in the most suspicious of circumstances, with nothing but a broken wand lying beside her. Could she have fallen fate to an evil curse? Could someone's wish upon a star have really come true? Fortunately, I'm a good friend of the King and Queen of Emmerson, so I was at the ball at the time, so I've been asked to investigate. So there we are, that's our story this evening, and hopefully you'll be able to solve this at home, detectives. But I'm not alone on screen. With me every week, I have with me a guest detective, and we've got two for the price of one this evening. We've got D.I. Wendon and Constable Catherine. How are you doing this evening?
Yeah, we're doing well. Thank you very much.
It's an absolute pleasure to have you here. Obviously, I know that you've been assisting me on quite a few cases over the last couple of months, but for the benefit of all of our detectives playing at home, if you could just let us know a little bit more about yourselves and your sleuthing skills.
I suppose our sleuthing skills have been learnt on the job in the last 9 odd weeks in assisting Inspector Rutherford with his cases. I have to say, Constable Catherine has been probably more successful than I've been, so I'll be relying heavily on her sleuthing skills. The intuition of a child is often useful, especially in fairy tale environments.
Well, but as I said, it's before I've said it to previous detectives. You've got to go with your gut on this one half the time, and generally as well. It's one of those where, as you say, our younger suspects, they don't get bogged down. They tend to go with the gut and tend to get it correct. But it's nice to see you have a silver bullet with you this evening. So that's my assistants for tonight, Constable Catherine and D.I. Wendon. And you will also see it on the screen 4 rather suspicious-looking suspects. If you'd be so kind, starting with Princess Ember. If you could please introduce yourselves and your relationship to our deceased Princess Aquaria.
Oh, hello, Inspector Charming. Rutherford, sorry, killing me. Let me introduce myself. My name is Princess Ember, burning bright, unlike my sister, who's died. It's very sad.
Let's go with the man in the hat.
Hello, everyone. I'm Billy the Bellhop. When you ring that bell, I hop to it. I used to work for the princess, well, all the princesses, but I work for one less now.
Okay, let's go to the woman with 2 turrets on her head.
I am Anathese, local apothecary and witch.
And finally, the one in the fancy pink background.
Hi, I'm Princess Crystal of Heightendale. I'm Princess Aquaria's cousin.
Yes, well, there we are. I think suspicious is definitely the word I'm going to use. Suspicious and eccentric for our suspects this evening. So the way this will work for everyone who is new to the Moonstone cases, so we're going to find out the backstories and the alibis of each of our suspects. The order will be selected by D.I. Wendon and Constable Catherine. After this, we will take questions from the guest detectives, and this is where you get to solve along at home with us. The comment section, as you can see very nice to me, nicely on the right, is where you can put your questions to the suspects and to myself in regards to the case. A few things I politely request in there. You may have seen a few of our moderators, particularly Chris is keeping an eye on it as well this evening. They are there to make sure that you do not give any conclusions or any sort of major things that you spot early on. Do not put them in the comment section because it ruins the fun for everyone else playing at home. We want everyone to be getting right until the very end. As well, a polite request for all of the detectives who have so kindly joined us for the last 9 weeks or so. I want to confirm a few things now. I'm sorry, everyone new playing this evening, you might get a little confused. Mr. Buttons isn't here. There are no badges, and my name is not Barry. I just want to clarify them out of the way. Please refrain from putting that in the comment section as so we don't confuse any of the other detectives playing at home. I suppose I've talked for a bit I've done a nice bit of fodder there. I think it's time I've probably filled you in about the facts of the case. Just to check, D.I. Wendon and Constable Catherine, do you have a pen and paper at the ready?
Yep.
Brilliant. Everyone at home have a pen and paper at the ready? pause for response. Lovely. Okay, so away we go. So, Princess Aquaria was found dead at the stroke of midnight near the main ballroom in the drawing room. It seems she has stumbled into the nearby room, having taken ill at the ball. From initial inspection, it's rather clear that Princess Aquaria has been poisoned, and there was residues of an apple on her lips. There was also a broken magic wand, which is linked to the infamous witch Mathilda. From speaking to the other guests and servants, Princess Aquaria was speaking to a mysterious Prince Lorenzo for the majority of the evening, and he had been witnessed offering Princess Aquaria an apple. However, from looking at the guest list, there's no Prince Lorenzo at all. In addition, nearby to the scene of the crime, I found a cloak, regal clothing, and one fake ticket in the name of Prince Lorenzo, and a magic disguise potion. So I believe Prince Lorenzo doesn't exist at all, and in fact, one of our suspects has disguised themselves using a magic potion this evening to poison Princess Aquaria. So there we have it. One of these suspicious suspects is secretly Prince Lorenzo, who poisoned our Princess Aquaria this evening. Now I think it's time we started questioning them. So, D.I. Wendon, Constable Catherine. I believe Constable Catherine is picking the order this evening. So who is looking the shiftiest to you?
I'm gonna go with Anathese.
Oh, you want to go with the Wicked Witch first? You want to go with Anathese? Okay, so Anathese, more of a personal question. I'm just wondering what it must be like being the most feared and hated Wicked Witch on top of the hill. I mean, sure, you must revel in the fact that everyone's absolutely terrified from you in the kingdom of Emmerson.
You'd think, but actually it's quite lonely being a witch. I never wanted to be a witch. I wanted to be a perfume maker, or perfumier, if you will. But unfortunately, when you are part of a proud witching dynasty that's famous for magical dark potions and poisons, people are a little unwilling to partake of a small bottle of unknown liquid. I don't know why. So yes, I had to change course, followed in Mummy's footsteps, and became a witch.
Oh, well, if you don't mind me saying, Dave, did a very good job of it. Most of the kingdom are terrified of you. No point cracking on like you're the Avon lady now with your perfumes. Perfumes? Huh. I could smell something, Inspector, and it isn't Chanel number 5. My sister wasn't scared, though. She was inspired. Oh, God rest her soul. Even in heaven, she won't be as pretty as me, Inspector.
Hang on, Ember. You said she was inspired by Anathese.
Yes, that's right, Inspector. Aquarius liked 2 things in life. One was watching Home and Away, she never missed an episode. And the other was gloating about her little schemes, Inspector. She told me she'd ask for Anathese to help with her dark magic, or she'd get the guards to burn down her house.
Oof, my word. Is this true, Anathese? Anathese?
Yes, it's true. To be honest, I will be honest, because, why not? And you're all going to blame me anyway, after all. I'm the Wicked Witch.
Yes.
I've read the stories. I know what's going to happen.
Yes.
So yes, Aquaria did come to me, trying to request some dark arts. And then she threatened me with blackmail, which was fun. I was surprised that she came to see me here. Normally, I do my dealings in the marketplace. People are scared to come up here. No one's been up here for 10 years, except for yesterday.
That's suspiciously ominous there. It seems dark magic and Wi-Fi don't mix together very well, so apologies for that detective, but we seem to have a back more now. Sorry, you said no one's been there for 10 years apart from yesterday.
That's correct. I went out last night to gather some witch hazel, and when I came back, someone had broken in, knocked over a load of vials, stolen some potions and poisons, a sleep spell,
Yes.
bewilderment spell, and a bewitching spell, etc.,
Yes.
etc. And even my mother's wand.
Ah, okay. So your mother's wand, the one, so the one that we found, the broken wand you say was stolen off you yesterday.
Yes.
Yes. I was wondering. You mentioned a couple of potions and poisons were stolen. Was a disguise potion stolen from the batch?
Yes, it was. I only had a small batch, and someone's taken it. It's only about enough for 2 hours of disguising from anyone you choose. I'm actually the only person that can make it. It's my recipe. Hands off! And it takes forever to brew. It'll take me weeks before I've got a new batch.
Really?
Well, that seems handy then that you have your spell book, because I'm sure that you could have used a temporary spell to disguise yourself instead if needed. Oh, and also, thank you for that reconstruction potion that you made for my mirror. It's such a shame it got damaged in transit.
Okay.
Welcome.
So let's move off, because I'm sure our detectives are going to have a lot of questions. I just want to ask one last thing, Anathese. Where were you during the ball?
Oh, well, I started off at the entrance to the palace gates. I thought I could sell a little cologne to those vain royal princes trying to make a good first impression on the princess.
Yes.
Unfortunately, they were very well guarded, and I got told no quite unceremoniously, with swords, actually. So, change of plan. Snuck in. I thought I would sell some on the ballroom floor, but apparently a horned woman is unnerving on a dance floor.
I could never think why.
I know. More swords. I had to run away, found myself in the bowels of the palace, and I ended up trying to sell my cologne to the chambermaids, and quite dishearteningly, I had to remarket it as toilet freshener.
Well, if it works, it works. Well, thank you for that, Anathese. I can see quite a few people our detectives at home have already started doing this. But any questions for Anathese, you can stick them into the comment section now, and I'll try relay as many as I can. But first, over to D.I. Wendon and Constable Catherine. Any questions for our Wicked Witch, Anathese?
I do. I've got a couple of questions. You mentioned that the princess was blackmailing you to force you to help her. What did she have against you to enable her to blackmail you?
Brute force, mainly. She was threatening to burn down this cottage, which is really all I've got, and has been part of my family for generations.
Okay. And you said that your cottage was broken into yesterday.
Yes.
Apart from anything that was stolen, did you notice anything else? Any other evidence that might? Who do you think did it?
Who do I think broke in?
Yeah.
I really don't have any idea. I thought everyone was too afraid to my cottage. I actually had the guard dog working. He was obviously cowed by whomever came in.
Well, also, as a side note, who knew that intermittent Wi-Fi makes you seem more ominous when you're a Wicked Witch? It's rather an impressive audio effect you've got going on there, Anathese. Sorry, back to D.I. Wendon.
With my powers!
It's your powers are just too strong for the 5G. D.I. Wendon, Constable Catherine.
You got any question? No, okay, nothing at the moment.
Nothing good now. No problem. I will pass over to the comments section. So let's have a look. So remember, these questions are just aimed at Anathese on this one. So, for example, Yellow Belly, if you want to ask for Princess Ember's number, you have to wait until we question her later on. Just thought we'd clear that one up. So, Bethia Atkinson, Anathese, do you have access to potions that could change someone's appearance? So just to clarify, there was a disguise spell that would alter someone's appearance that you made, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Yes.
But I only had a little bit and it all went.
Okay, so it's just that one batch that had gone, and she said it would take a few weeks to do it again. So Lauren Shotton would like to know, did your mother get along well with the princess? So did your mother, Mathilda, did she know Princess Aquaria? Did she get on well with her?
As far as I know, they never had any interaction.
Okay. So no interaction, can't help you there, I'm afraid, on that one. Jenny Wren likes to know I think she may just be looking to actually purchase some of your toilet freshener. What's the signature scent that you sell, Anathese?
Succinct by Anathese. It's short and to the point.
Succinct. It sounds German, but she also wants to know where you got your horns from. They're lovely, but I think she grew them out of her head.
Yes.
So let's have a look. Scott Barkley, and I think someone else asked this as well, wants to know if you reported these stolen goods to anyone. When it got...
Who would come to the aid of a wicked witch? Silly question.
Yes, I had a feeling that was going to be the answer. Considering that they can quite easily burn a cottage down when they feel like it, I don't think the authorities are going to be that interested in assisting her on that one. So... Anna Marie grows the knot. Guard dog didn't bark. Anathese, do you have a dog?
Yes.
Why didn't the dog bark?
I don't know. He was looking rather sheepish when I came back.
But I thought he'd look more doggish to me, but I'll just take these last ones and then we'll move on. So Sarah Neal, that's an interesting one actually. So your mother's magic wand, which funnily enough, we've managed to get a bit of super glue and we've put it back together again.
Mummy!
Yes, so we have your mother's wand. But out of curiosity, is anyone else able to actually use this wand?
They shouldn't be able to.
Well, I can't use it, but then again, we don't have the special effects budget for that one. So no one should be able to use your mother's wand in theory.
In theory.
In theory. So let's just double check any last ones that might be of relevancy. But I think for now, so we'll just go last. A follow-up from Scott Bradley. Just why did you think the goods got stolen from you? So is there any? Do you think it was just a census robbery, or do you think there's something in there that people would benefit from sufficiently?
I don't know. I mean, they could have issues with some of the potions that were unmarked. I'm looking forward to someone accidentally smearing pus face on their faces. That would be brilliant.
It got even more sinister as it went along. It's getting a bit scary now. I'll go with this last one from Dave before we move on. There's a question from David Webster. Just wants to clarify, when Aquarius blackmailed you, what did she ask for? What potions or magic spells did she ask for?
Oh, she did not ask for a specific spell.
Okay.
She asked for... Is that clear?
No, that wasn't clear. You cut out.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I want to say, detectives at home, this isn't me. I'm not doing this to make life difficult for anyone. It's Anathese's dark powers interjected with the 5G. What did she say? She didn't ask for anything in particular. She asked for...
No. She wished for the skills to make her own. The dark arts she wished for training in.
So she wished to be trained in the dark arts so she could do her own rather than be produced by someone else. Natasha Crywell, is she on Virgin Media? No, I think someone's just leaning out the window of the coat hanger at this point. So let's move on for now. Let's go on to our next suspect. So, Constable Catherine, we've spoken to the Wicked Witch. Who would you like to speak to next?
Can we have Princess Ember, please?
You want Princess Ember? Okay.
Oh, hello.
This is because has Yellow Belly just asked you to pick her next so we can get the phone number off her?
The phone's on, dear.
The phone's on. It's because no one's ringing. So, Princess Ember, how well did you get on with your sister? I understand that you're the older of the two.
Oh, Inspector, a lady never discusses her age. And neither do I. But, I am willing to admit I'm slightly older, but no one can tell us apart, a lot of people around the court thought we were identical twins.
Oh, I'm sorry, Inspector. I know it's very serious. I know that there's been the murder and so on, but that's the funniest thing I've heard in ages. Identical twins? Pull the other one, Princess Ember, has got bells on.
Oh, but you could shot it, Billy Goat's Croft. That's very rude. Me and my sister got on fine, Inspector, thank you for asking. Although I will admit, she could be very trying at times. She was always up to something. She was very free spirit, not like me. I just concentrate on my modelling career, Inspector.
Oh, really? Hard boots, I'm guessing.
Cousin, you're being too kind about her. She was very cruel to you at many times, especially when she tried to clinch the throne from you.
Really? Princess Ember, is this true?
Well, you can see why she might be jealous of me. I probably intimidate you, Inspector, do I?
Not really, no.
She was also mad about me being next to the throne, so she used a potion with a lotion to alter the royal decree.
Hang on, sorry, she used the potion with the lotion?
It's in the vessel with the pestle.
Oh, that's by the flagon with the dragon, isn't it?
I'll bail out there. So, if I'm not wed by 21, I'll lose my place in line. I mean, I've been playing the field, Inspector. I've missed the boat. Very cruel thing to do.
I think you missed the boat because you were playing in the field. The boat was in the water, but... So you got thrown. So she converted it. So she converted the decree that you would lose your place in the throne because you weren't married by the age of 21.
That's right, Inspector Charming. Rutherford.
Oh, Inspector, you should have seen it when it was announced. Ember, she was going for Aquarius. She was. We had to bring half the staff in to hold her back.
Really?
She's got a mean right hook, she does, Inspector.
Well, I do work out, Inspector. Keep that in mind.
She benches like 300.
All right. Anyway, it was all very convenient. I was mad at the time, but I accepted my fate, Inspector. But you see, my sister, she wasn't the brightest jewel in the throne room. She forgot that she was 21 in 2 weeks. Well, we can't all have beauty and brains. That's why we were having a ball, Inspector. She had to find a new suitor quick. Otherwise, who knows what would happen to the throne?
So if she wasn't to get married, she had 2 weeks left, and she wasn't married then. Her cruel trick would backfire on her, and she'd lose her place as well.
Yes, that clarifies the situation.
Yes, I thought I'd just clear it up, just for anyone who hadn't picked up what we were referring to there. So, Princess Ember, going back to, as we were talking of Anathese about the dark arts, I was wondering if you've ever dabbled in the dark arts yourself.
Me, dear? Oh, no. Mind you, I nearly asked that witch for a beauty spell. Not for me, obviously, but for some of the family portraits in the palace. Some of them look like the back end of a pantomime horse. The family grew into its looks.
You're not wrong, Princess Ember. Those portraits around your castle are ghastly, especially the one of King Colin IV. That's almost as ghastly as his bust in the hallway. I don't really understand why your father didn't sort them out like my father did in the ones in Heightendale. We just painted over them with lovely, quaint pictures of horses.
Well, Princess Crystal, my father, the king, he respects tradition. And I'm surprised at Uncle Clive. He's usually a real stickler for the rules. It's one of the things I most admire.
And Princess Ember, where were you during the ball?
Well, I'm not a big fan of balls, Inspector. I usually retire early and have fun with the royal servants instead. I was down in the pantry flirting with the cooks. Don't be jealous, Inspector.
I think I can live with it.
Anyway, I promised one of them I'd show him my royal orchard. We arranged to meet in the maze garden, but he must have got lost because he never turned up. And I had to physically karate chop my way out. I do boxercise on a Wednesday, never miss, Inspector.
Okay, so you had no luck at the ball. You were flirting, and then you got lost in a hedge maze.
Yes, that seems to be what happened.
Yes, I thought I'd paraphrase.
Are you writing a biography or what?
No, I'm just writing some notes up as we go along. So I think that's. I think that's quite enough from me. So again, any questions at home, type them in the comments section now. But over to you, D.I. Wendon and Constable Catherine.
Go ahead, dear.
Thank you, dear. So your sister got you out of the next in line to the throne. Now that she's dead, who is next in line to the throne?
Oh, well, it's been a very trying time, so I'm not really sure. I haven't worked it out as yet. Let me think. Who's next in line to the throne? I'm sorry, I'm just thinking about. I've got a holiday in Ibiza planned, so it's a bit. I don't know.
I think the answer is that she doesn't know who will be next in line to the throne.
I've got two tickets, Inspector. 2 tickets.
You've got 2 tickets. What? Because you won't fit on one seat.
You can go right off someone, you know.
I'm sorry. It was low-hanging fruit there, Princess Ember. Low-hanging fruit.
In what?
Remember, back to you, Constable Catherine, D.I. Wendon.
You said that you'd arranged to meet someone in the maze garden. What time did you arrange to meet them, and what time did you leave?
All right. Well, I went to the ball. I didn't like it. And I went down and spoke to the cooks. Something was stirring in the soup. And so I said to one of the cooks, let's go out and get lost in a maze. And I never found him.
But what time was that?
When the roll ball started, dear.
And what time was that?
Warren, are you accurate? 10 o'clock, dear. Dearie me. I've got more biographers than Prince Charles.
We just want to be accurate so that your biography can be awesome. So the royal ball started at 10, and at that time you were down flirting with the cooks.
That's right, dear, yes.
Yeah. And so you were with the cooks or in the maze garden for the whole 2 hours until your sister was found?
Yes, that's right, dear. Can you hear me there?
Just checking. I want to make sure I can read my handwriting. That's fine.
Can I speak to D.I. Catherine next, please?
Have you got anything?
Maybe she's got some sensible questions.
If you were
Yes, dear.
and down in the maze when
Yes.
it all started, how could you have gone in and not liked it?
You what?
If you were down with the cooks at 10 when the ball started,
Yes.
how could you have been in the ball to say you didn't like it to then go down to the cooks?
Right. I've been to a lot of balls in my time. I know what goes down, and I'm not interested.
Family show.
I forgoed it. Thank you for asking, D.I. Catherine.
So you just assumed that you weren't going to enjoy yourself and disappeared straight away. I think was the message on that one.
Blooming heck, are we having communications problems here?
Yeah, sorry, I've been intercepted by the witch's Wi-Fi.
The media again, isn't it?
Any last questions before I move over to the comment section?
I think we've upset her enough.
Do you
upset
mean
me,
Constable
dear.
Catherine or Princess Ember?
Either, both. It's early evening.
There's a few people who have commented, apparently Princess Ember, take it as a compliment if you will, apparently you look a little bit like Barbara Cartland.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm a big fan.
So some says you look like a young Barbara Cartland, and someone says...
Young. Yes, very young.
Yes.
Very young.
I won't tell you what the other one said about Barbara Cartland then. So let's go on to, just to clarify, sorry, I've scrolled up a little bit too far, so we're just going to casually fodder, possibly just listen to the subtle elevator music.
Have a scroll, dear. Have a scroll.
I'm having a scroll. Yellow Belly's now just saying he's going to Ibiza with you. I'm looking for questions here. We're missing questions. There's more comments. Who was the person you... Lowry Dennis. Who was the person from the kitchen that you were meant to meet? And did he give you his name?
Oh, I don't know, dear. I've been through all the cooks. It was the third one on the right.
Third one on the right. Depends on which door you go in, though, for the third one on the right. Which doors? Then I go in down to the servants' entrance, and he's the third... Oh, he's the sous chef, then. Pierre. So, did you manage to stay outside for the full 2 hours? So, she's going to shout at me, but I'll ask her anyway. Just to clarify, so you got stuck in the hedge maze for about 2 hours and had to karate chop your way out?
Yes, that's right, dear. I got lost in my adventures with a chef.
Okay. So, Marini Live-Lop-Hair? You made that difficult on purpose. Have you any use for scent? So did you? I'm gonna reword that. Would you have any use for Anathese's perfumeries at all, or toilet freshener? Would you, or have you purchased from her?
No, I did once. She's a bit of an Avon lady around these parts, so I did once buy a perfume off her. It was Sharon number 4.
Sharon number 4.
That's right. Yes.
Okay. So Scott Barkley, can anyone verify your whereabouts when you were in the hedge maze?
Well, I don't know, because the cook never turned up, you see. So he might be in Ibiza for all I know. I don't know where he went.
So there we are. So the cook was the third one on the right, was never to be seen again. So
I did have a close encounter with the hedgerow. Does that help?
Not really. Lusaka Quiz Night, have you ever been on a liaison with Billy?
I beg your pardon. He's a bellhop.
But yet the third chef on the right is perfectly acceptable.
Oh, dear.
Okay, I'll take these last few before we move on to our next suspect. Gaz899. Gaz89. I can't say 999. So Gaz8999.
I only call him in an emergency.
Yes. And with a typo at the start. Did you want to be the queen?
Did I what?
Do you wish you were a queen?
I think I am a queen, dear. You can see that, can't you?
You know what I meant.
Oh, sorry. Oh, well, I do have ambitions, but I've managed to just shake off all the problems of the past and just live my best life.
Okay.
Are you on my Instagram?
No. Peter Shiverton, when did you last see Princess Aquaria this evening?
Oh, it was just before the ball when she wanted to borrow one of my dresses, but unfortunately she was a bit bigger than me.
Okay, so you rejected lending her an outfit. And I'm just going to finish it with Linda Kemp, Ember and Billy sitting in a tree, Kissing. Or Billy throwing up. So I think we'll leave Ember for now before we move on to the next suspect. I just want to say, and thank you to our moderators for highlighting as well, but thank you very, very much for everyone who has donated so far. I'm afraid airfare to the Kingdom of Mercia isn't cheap. So any donations are kindly appreciated. You can see we've got our tip jar in the bottom right, which is filling up quite nicely. You can find the link to donate in the information section of this video. If not, if you haven't got anything to spare, it's completely free to watch. But as well tonight, because I definitely did not forget to mention this in the introduction, although 80% is being split between the performers, 20% is going towards our charity of the week, because I've remembered to mention it now. So our charity of the week is CDS, the Community Driving School, which has been selected by D.I. Wendon. We're going to do a casual segue. Normally, this is when infomercial music plays. But D.I. Wendon, so if you could just quickly tell us a little bit more about CDS.
CDS is brainchild of a lovely man called John Nicholson, and it's designed to help people whose life is limited by not having a driving license. So he's helping people that are homeless, that are disadvantaged, that are at rock bottom. During lockdown, he's been given free driving lessons to key workers to help them do the job they need to do during this coronavirus. Everything through sponsorship, through corporate sponsorship and private sponsorship, and he's really making a huge difference to so many people. So it's a great cause, and I'm really proud to support it.
Fantastic. And hopefully, I've met John, and lovely, when I'm not in the Kingdom of Mercia, of course, but I have met John back in the Kingdom of England, and lovely guy doing a great cause. So hopefully we'll be able to get a little bit of donations along the way. And we're going to pretend, and hopefully we're going to edit that post-production, that's going to go at the start, like I've actually remembered to mention it. But any donations you can spare would be kindly appreciated. Back to the dead princess. So, D.I. Wendon, Constable Catherine, we have two left. We've been through the Wicked Witch and the Ugly Sister. Would you like to question Billy the Bellhop or Princess Crystal next?
Can we question Princess Crystal, please?
Princess Crystal next. So, Crystal, how would you get on with Aquaria? I mean, you were cousins, if I recall correctly, so surely there's some rivalry involved.
Oh, no, of course not. We are cousins, as I say. Our fathers are brothers. And we grew up together, you know. Princesses aren't allowed to mingle with any other children of a royal family. So, with there only being 2 years apart between us, we naturally were the best of friends growing up. And, you know, adult life takes over princess duties. They become more important the older you get. So we have drifted from each other, but we did make sure we saw each other now and again.
Curry Inspector.
Hello.
If I might interject, it was 3 years ago when everyone fell out. It was all over her cousin, little Prince Geordie. When he was born, King Clive was a stickler for tradition and insisted the boy would be next in line for the throne. Poor Crystal, she didn't get a look in, dear. Oh, I know how she feels. On the scrap heap she was. Well, at least I've got my looks.
So you've lost your place. You've lost your place towards the throne, then, Princess Crystal.
Yes, I have, but I would like to point out that unlike you, Princess, I am not bitter towards my sibling. My poor baby brother had no choice in the matter. He was a small child, and with him only being 3 years old now, I prefer you refrain from trying to cause a rift between the two of us. I was fine with my brother's birth. I completely understand that when a boy is born into a royal family, he instantly takes the throne. Though I don't think it's overly fair or progressive, it is the way it is. So I got over it and I will be fine. I am set to be married to Count Frederick of Otterdam, so I will be happy whiling away my own hours, pretending to be a queen in his grounds.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Princess Crystal, but hasn't Count Frederick been under a sleeping spell for the last 30 or so years?
Yes, isn't it a perk of the deal? So, Mathilda put him under a spell many years ago, and as part of my deal, I get to decide whether I give him true love's kiss and revive him, or just simply live in his grounds that have been very well kept since his absence. So, I'll assess that situation when I get there.
Well, it's a rather interesting situation to be in. And then, Princess Crystal, just for clarification, where were you during the royal ball?
Well, of course, I was doing what any good princess would do. I was greeting the guests on arrival. I was laughing at my cousin as she was snorting at some of the suggestions for her suitor. I did find that rather amusing. But then, unfortunately, I had to cut my visit to the ball short. I became somewhat unwell, and I put it down slightly to the 2 days we had to travel to get to the ball. But perhaps it was the buffet. I think the chefs have been somewhat preoccupied.
Yes, especially the third one on the right.
I hired my room, Helen.
Okay, so you greeted everyone. Did the formal royal duties, and then took ill.
Yes, and decided to retire early.
Fair enough. I think that's. I don't think I've really got anything on my end for the minute, because it seems it's been covered already in previous discussions. But I'll move over now to D.I. Wendon and Constable Catherine, who's conveniently flown back onto the screen just in time for questioning. So, any questions you have for Princess Crystal, fire away.
I do. Princess Crystal, in your opinion, with your cousin no longer with us and Princess Ember no longer able to take that throne, who do you think would be next in line for the throne of Mercia?
Well, I would assume that the throne would go perhaps to my father. Maybe he will just combine the kingdoms, or I would say my brother. As I say, I don't have any claim to my own throne, so I can't imagine that I would be ever in line for someone else's kingdom's throne.
Okay, and when you do marry Count Frederick, does he have his own kingdom, or could he possibly take on another kingdom with you?
Can you repeat that question? Sorry, my dear.
That's okay. When you marry Count Frederick, does he have his own kingdom, or would you take on a kingdom together of your own?
He has his own grounds. He's not a king, you see, being a count. So he has his own grounds within my father's kingdom. So, as I say, I'm just going to pretend that I'm a princess in his grounds.
Okay. And you say that he's had been under a sleeping spell for 30 odd years. Who was it that gave him that spell?
Mathilda. Mathilda put that spell on him, which is Anathese's mother, the witch that we were discussing earlier on. She put the spell on him many, many years ago. Yes. I'm sure why. I'm assuming that he must have crossed her at some point.
And we would ask him, but it might be a little bit difficult at the moment.
Okay. Right, right. So,
okay. Crystal, you didn't seem exactly very happy when you were talking about your brother on the throne. As in, your voice was almost crying.
Of course, I'm unhappy, but I think the tension you felt there, little girl, was that I was very unhappy that Ember would insinuate that I was going to be upset with my brother. He's 3 years old at the end of the day. So that was very shrewd of you to notice, but I was more upset with Ember than I was with the situation.
You've got her on the ropes, dear. Good work.
I have another follow-up question, actually. If your father was unfortunate enough to pass away, would you be your brother's regent? And would you be, in effect, in charge until your brother was old enough?
I would be my brother's guardian, but you see, in the royal families, we have such guardians in our staff. So we have butlers who become parents. So the guardianship of both of us would go to one of our very loyal servants. He's called Charles. So he would take over the guardianship of the both of us, because as a princess, I am still under guardianship my whole life. It doesn't just end at 18, you see. So I think his care would go to Charles.
That's that. Okay, thank you.
Lovely. I'll move on to the comments section. First one from Marini Levlop here. I see. I could get it right if I paid attention. So, did you meet Prince Lorenzo when you were at the ball?
I didn't meet him in person, but I did see my cousin talking to him. But in fact, I noticed because he was the only suitor that my cousin didn't seem to snort at. So I thought I'd best leave them in their privacy, because that was shortly before I retired to my bedroom. But I did see them talking.
Okay, so you saw them talking, but you didn't speak to him personally. Scott Buckley, just looking to stir the pot. Who'd you get along better with, Princess Ember or Princess Aquaria?
Well, I would say I've always gotten on better with Princess Aquaria just because of the age gap. I'm sorry, Princess Ember, but there is, there is a little bit more of an age gap between the two of us. So
it's a couple of months at most.
Yes, that's what your crow's feet say, my dear. So we have always been a little bit closer because we are younger.
See, I told you that you bring the claws out, Scott Barkley. So, Steve J, I would like to know if Crystal was 2 years younger or older than you. Crystal was 2 years older, if I'm correct. Aquaria was 2 years older.
I'm 2 years younger than Aquaria, yes.
My apologies on that one. So, Aquaria is nearly turning 21, and then Crystal is nearly turning 19, or is 19, I'm presuming, around that mark.
Yes.
Scott Barkley, did you notice anyone suspicious when you were greeting guests on arrival?
I didn't pick up on anyone that I thought was out of sorts. I noticed a few people felt shifty, but perhaps that was because they didn't want to be matched with Princess Aquaria. Some of the younger men seemed a little bit shifty around her, because of course for them as well an arranged marriage can't be overly pleasant, especially when she wasn't overly a popular princess, you see, with some people. Within the people of the kingdoms, they thought she could do no wrong. But royal families do see through pretenses, you see.
Learn something new every day. Geraldine Bailey is Crystal in line for her cousin's throne. So do you know if you're, just to clarify, this has been asked already, do you know if you do fall in the line? You said you presume it would go to your father. You think it would go to your father?
Nobody has said anything contrary to that to me, and I would not assume that I would be in line for the throne, as I'm not in line for the throne of Heightendale, so I can't imagine being in line for someone else's kingdom's throne.
There we are. Geraldine Bailey also asked if you've been to Anathese's house before.
I've never been to Anathese's house. I'm sorry, my dear. She frightens me, and I've never needed cheap perfume, so I've never had a reason to go to her house, and I certainly would not be dabbling in the dark arts. I wouldn't be seen dead near there.
You've almost verbatimly answered my next question, because Stephen Lang asked, have you ever dabbled in the dark arts? And you've just said you never dabble in the dark arts.
Certainly not. I'm much more accustomed to settling down with a good...
It all seems a little bit too psychic there. I think you might be using a bit of dark art stuff to figure it out in advance. So just to confirm, even if you don't dabble in the dark arts, Lauren Shotton, do you know any magic at all?
Unfortunately, I am rather magic-less. My only magic is that I make a very, very good pumpkin pie.
Yeah, well, good to know. I would say Prince Frederick's in for a treat, but then I don't think it will just choke him, really, if he's in a sleeping spell. Mark Randall wants to know if you own a cloak.
Do I own a cloak? Do you think I would be seen dead in a cloak? Absolutely not.
There you go. Sam Moore wants to know if you lost a shoe. Apparently he's trying to solve a different mystery.
No, I'm not Cinderella, and I did not lose my shoe on my way out of the ball. I certainly wasn't in a rush either, so if I did lose a shoe, I could have gone and collected it.
And I'm going to just try and find some last ones here. Donna Gray wants to know if you've ever been in a relationship with Billy the Bellhop.
Billy the Bellhop? Oh, my dear. No, I'm sorry, Billy, but, a princess is not going to marry a bellhop.
Just again, because we've asked 2 out of 3 there. Anathese, have you ever been in a relationship with Billy the Bellhop?
Oh, sadly, no. He looks like a delight, but no.
There we are. Just
watch out, Billy.
D.I. Wendon, you've never been in a relationship with Billy the Bellhop?
Plead the fifth.
You plead the fifth on that one?
I heard something rather different, Inspector. I'm glad that she's pleading the fifth and not what I heard.
Yes, I don't know what you heard, and I'm sure in about 10 seconds with the delay on the comment section, I'll find out what you heard on that one, Billy. So I think that's all I think I'm going to leave it there for now. So, D.I. Wendon, as you seem to be slightly indisposed with embarrassment, shall we move on to our last suspect? Constable Catherine, you seem the sensible one of the two. Would you like me to question Billy the Bellhop, or would you like me to question Billy the Bellhop?
Billy the Bellhop.
Good choice.
The Bellhop. That is an excellent choice on that one. So, Billy the Bellhop. So, I wondered how well you got on with Princess Aquaria. I heard the two of you were rather good friends.
Oh, yes, Inspector. She was brilliant. She was the best princess this kingdom's ever had and the best it ever will have, I think. And even though, yes, I might be a lowly servant, you're right. We got on very well. We spent a lot of time together. In fact, can you keep a secret, Inspector?
Oh, sorry, you're talking to me?
Yes, you're the Inspector.
Do I have to lean in close?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Do you think the boys and girls at home can keep a secret, Inspector?
Oh, are we really doing this, Billy?
Yes, of course we are. I can't say it if they can't keep a secret.
Oh, I'm glad I've got my secret mug. Boys and girls at home, can you keep a secret? There we are. Lauren Shorten says we can. D.I. Wendon, Constable Catherine, can you keep a secret? There we are. This is going to be very anticlimactic, but yes, we can all keep a secret for you, Billy.
I loved her, I did, Inspector. That's right. I know nobody knew that, but I loved her, I did. I loved her from the heart of my bottom. From the bottom of my heart, I did. Not many people know that, Inspector, but now you do.
Oh, Billy, you poor deluded fool. Everybody knows you're madly in love with her. That sister of mine knew it too. That's why she was so mean to poor little Billy. Oh.
Really? Ah, Billy, what does she mean when obviously you loved Princess Aquaria and you say so Princess Aquaria was a little bit nasty to you back?
She took advantage of him, Inspector, advantage.
Yes. What do you mean by that, Ember?
It's time you learn the truth, Billy. My sister was a student of the dark arts and she used poor Billy for her witchcraft experiments. She got one of them transformation potions. At one time, she turned poor Billy into a goat. You got a gruff deal there, Inspector. It's not appropriate behaviour for a royal princess. I think you'll agree.
I should clarify, Inspector, that yes, I was a goat for a couple of days, but I didn't even mind that much. I got more than my 5 a day because all the children of the kingdom saw me and I was a celebrity goat. They would feed me carrots all the live long day. I got my 10 a day, 20 a day in those couple of days. I do feel a little bit sorry for the children that saw me turn back into me, though. I imagine that might have been quite hard to watch. But anyway, the point is, yes, she did do the dark arts a little bit. She did do that stuff. But I think it's because when you're a princess, and we got a couple of princesses here, so you can ask them. When you're a princess, you've got to be well behaved all the time, and that's really hard. So she wanted a hobby that let her kind of get away from that and have a bit of fun. And I was very happy to help her with that, as long as it meant that I could spend more time with her.
Okay.
Really?
Okay, so why were you trying to spend it? Because you loved her, and I was guessing you'd hope one day that she'd go off and she'd marry you.
Yeah. The more time I spent with her, the more she'd realise that I was perfect for her, and she'd make me her husband and that.
Oh, Billy. Oh, I'm sorry, my dear, but there's just no chance that a princess is going to marry a servant. It's not allowed. And, Inspector, I'm sorry, Billy, but to her, you were just a plaything. She was ever so cruel to you, but you knew that, didn't you, Billy? I saw you crying about it after you'd overheard her telling her sister that she was not in love with you.
No, that's not true. That's not true. That's not true, Inspector. It's not true, boys and girls.
We'll pause you for a second, Billy. D.I. Wendon, Constable Catherine, I feel like out of pity we should give them a communal R together. You ready?
Oh, yeah.
After 3, 1, 2, 3. Oh. Sorry, I thought I'd feed into that for a minute. So it's not true that you were crying in the corridor?
No, I appreciate the R, but you don't need to do it because it's not true. I wasn't crying at all. What happened was I had something in my eye for the whole day. It was really stuck in there. It was, and that's why my eyes were watering a bit. And that sound, you might have heard a sound. And the reason for that is that there's wolves outside the castle. You see, they roam the grounds, and they forgot how to howl for a bit. So I was teaching them how to howl again, so they could do it in the night.
So you were sort of doing your community bit there for the wolves.
Yeah, what's the wolf going to do if it can't howl? So I thought, I better help him.
Be a quiet wolf. Billy, what have you been doing today then?
Oh, how long have you got, Inspector?
Only about 30 seconds, so tell me as quick as you can, Billy.
Right, well, frankly, the castle's understaffed, so I had to do an awful lot. I was walking the dog, and then I had to go and catch the dog because he doesn't like being on the lead.
Yep.
And then I had to get the dog to stop biting me because he doesn't like being caught.
Yep.
And I had to get Princess Crystal's her luggage, all that up to her room, and I had to take her tartan that she'd given me down to the pantry and leave that in there.
Okay.
And then Princess Ember needed a corset helping with, and that took a couple of hours, I can tell you.
Yep.
And then I had to, what did I do after that? I had to clean all the skirting boards in the old place, because apparently when someone comes to a ball, they spend a lot of time looking at the skirting boards. And then I had to help Princess Aquaria with her jewellery. And then I went for a little cry, because Princess Aquaria might not love me. And then, all night, we had this ball to deal with, and like I said, there aren't many of us. So basically, my job all night was to make sure that everyone's coats were taken and arranged. But the guests were coming in thick and fast, and when they're as posh as they are very heavy coats. Apparently, more posh you are, the heavier your coat is. So I got snowed under a little bit.
Okay. And just to check, just going back to this, the apple residue, and the poison apple. How easy is it for one of our guests to get into the pantry to steal an apple?
Well, the pantry door's not locked because we have to bring food in and out, you see. So they could have got into the pantry. The thing about the apples is, Inspector, that we used all of our apples in the desserts for that night. So they had to be very sneaky and nick one before the chefs could cook with it. They had to be very sneaky indeed.
And just to check if anyone saw you during the Suitors' Ball.
I doubt they could. I was under a pile of coats. But even if they could, to be honest, Inspector, I'm just a bellhop. No one really pays attention to the staff at these things. They're there to mix with other posh people. Worst thing that happened to me all night was that, what was his name? Lord Lucas of Newyer. He chucked a massive fur coat at me, he did. I don't know what animal's fur that was, but it was the heaviest coat I'd ever seen. He must have been very posh.
There we are, posh people, heavy coats.
Heavy coats.
Heavy coats, indeed. Thank you very much, Billy the Bellhop. Before I pass over to D.I. Wendon, Linda Kent's asking if I'm on the source tonight. No, just the fairy tale magical trip to the Kingdom of Emmerson makes me sassy. It's just a strange side effect. Okay, over to D.I. Wendon and Constable Catherine. Questions for Billy the Bellhop.
Is that on? Yes. Yeah, Billy, you said you walked the dog today this morning. What time do you normally walk the dogs?
It's one of the first things I do in the morning before all the posh people are up and need their things doing. So I walk the dog about 7 o'clock in the morning.
And you do that every day?
Yes, yeah.
Do you ever do it at night?
Sometimes, if they want to go out for a walk, I will. But I couldn't walk them last night because I was getting coats and getting ready for the ball.
Okay. Do you ever go to the market and get anything for the cooks or for the princesses?
No, that's a different servant's job.
Okay. Do you remember seeing a cloak in amongst all the heavy coats that you were under?
Oh, I'm really sorry, D.R. Wendon, but I didn't have a very good view. I was under a big pile of coats. I couldn't pick one out from the other.
Okay. That's all I've got.
That's all right. I'll pass over to the comment section then.
Yes.
I was going to do it anyway, Billy, but thanks for your contribution on that one.
Yes.
Are you just going to say yes to everything, or?
No.
No, good. Just to check, Anne-Marie Grosson-Knock just asked. She asked what Billy did at the ball, so as we know, he was taking the coats. Did you serve any food when you were at the ball?
No, I couldn't. I was under the coats.
Because you were under the coats. So you were under the coats for the whole ball?
Pretty much. As soon as I'd escaped from one pile of coats and hung them up, the next people came in and there was more coats.
Okay, so it was just coats on coats. Richard Hill wants to know, Billy, were you jealous about Aquaria having to marry to secure the throne? So were you jealous that someone else was going to marry her?
No. I wanted her to be happy. She should marry whoever she wanted. And if that happened to me, that was great.
But what if it was someone else?
Yeah, but she can marry whoever she wants. And if it happens to be me, that's brilliant.
But what if it's not you?
Well, she can marry whoever she wants. But if it does happen to be me, well, that's perfect.
I think the jealousy question might be answered on that one somewhat subconsciously. Let's see. There were questions again about whether you were at At the food, something about handling a dog, but that was covered by D.I. Wendon about when you walked the dog. Whose dog was it? Just again to double check.
Oh, it's just the castle grounds dogs.
Okay, Anna-Marie Grissom, not. Did you? I might have asked a second ago. Do you?
She's asking a lot of questions.
She is. It's just catches my eye. Do you own a cloak?
Do I own it? No, I don't own a cloak. No.
And you should say under these lots of coats. Well, there were cloaks in the cloakroom. I'm guessing they weren't just all coats.
Oh, there was a whole mix. There were probably coats and cloaks and robes and all sorts of things like that. Problem is, they were all so heavy and there were so many, I couldn't tell one apart from the next.
Yes. Okay. Marie and someone else wanted to ask. Let me just quickly go up. Marie wants to know: do you ever walk the dog near Anathese's place?
Oh, no. I don't go near there. No, I don't go near Anathese's place. Everyone knows about Anathese's cottage. We don't go near there if we can help it.
Okay. Angel McMillan asks if a tart tatin has apple in. Yes, it's a tart tatin. Not much more to it, really. Yes.
Yeah.
If you've ever had a tart tatin, yes, there's an apple in it. Donna Gray wants to know. Sorry, it was asking if you walk the dog. They want to know that. Tom Alford wants to know if you ever. I'm gonna read it verbatim. Do you ever find your grubby mitts in said coats, Billy?
I've got to actually clean my mitts since the previous incident, so they're not grubby anymore. I've got to keep them clean. It's the rules. But if you mean, do I nick things? No, of course not. I'm very happy with my job, and I don't want to lose it by fiddling through coats and nicking things.
Okay. Scott Barkley asked, and a couple of other people asked, about. So you didn't see Prince Lorenzo at the ball then?
No, I didn't see anybody unless I had a coat, and then his coat was swiftly moving toward me.
Okay. Katie Holmes asked how tall roughly was Prince Lorenzo. From sightings, he was around about 5'11". So average height, really. The only thing with it is, remember, with a disguise spell, it managed to turn Billy into a goat. So I think it could warp somebody's height on that one. So I don't think the height is that relevant. Someone could easily shoot up or squat down.
I'm bigger than goats.
Okay. I know you're bigger than goats, Billy. So Eileen Brosnan, that is a theory, not a question, I think. That's a theory. That's a theory hidden in there.
Unacceptable.
So Ian Morrish, did Billy ever dress up in the guest coats and disguise himself?
No, I can't say I did. To be honest with you, there were too many coats coming thick and fast. By the time you'd got one coat on, you'd be under 10 more.
Okay. Lucas Quiz Night. This isn't for Billy, but I tell you what, actually, I'm gonna make, as we've questioned all 4 suspects, I'm gonna make this open ground now to everyone. So any questions you've got for any of the suspects, you're welcome to stick them in the comment section, and then DIY and Constable Catherine, any questions you've got for anyone, it's open. Just because this one is something that's actually quite interesting. From Lucas Quiz Night, because it's for Anathese. So, because you'll be the expert on this, does the same person have to cast and release a disguise potion? So is it consumed, or does someone have to cast it in a certain way?
One has to cast it on oneself.
Yes.
You have to control who can perceive it. With this particular spell. So you're really controlling the perception of everyone around you and deciding who perceives you in your disguise.
Okay. There we are. So you have to cut. You can do it by yourself. That's the context on that one. So just to check, D.I. Wendon and Constable Catherine, do you have any questions for any of the suspects first? No is a perfectly acceptable one. Don't worry if you haven't got anything for the minute. That's all right. So I'll go over to the comments section then. David Webster, what happened to Mathilda? Anathese, what happened to your mother?
Let it out, dear.
Mummy was, it's a difficult memory. Mummy was pursued by an angry mob with flaming torches and pitchforks. And it did not end well. Spoiler alert. We try and visit her. She's scattered in 5 kingdoms around us. So it's a tricky memorial.
So it's a week's holiday to go and grieve on that one. There we are. So Mathilda is sadly no longer with us, to answer that question. Eileen Brosnan would like to know, Princess Crystal, what food did you eat and what chef made it?
Oh goodness, I don't have a clue who made it.
Was it...
I don't converse with the chefs of the palace.
No, I think
I'm not
your
like
cousin's
another
got that covered.
Yes, I wouldn't want to get in the way of her doings. So I don't remember what I tried. It's all very similar things, you know. So I think I did sample some salmon that I thought seemed a little bit under quality. So I'm going to put it on that.
So you enjoyed some canapes, so to speak, and a few...
Yes.
There we are. So did Billy turn himself into a goat? No, so so just to check, not Anathese, Aquaria turned Billy into a goat, is that correct?
Yeah, with the program, dear.
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
Yes.
We'll
She
go...
used a transformation spell.
Yes, so she used a transformation spell, which is similar to a disguise spell, but not the same, I'm presuming.
Exactly. You've got it. Well done.
Yes, I see it. Yeah, that could be a wizard. Katie Holmes is asking the clutching at straws question, which gets asked on every investigation of mine. Who does everyone think did it? This is for the suspects. You can say, I don't know, or I don't care, but who do you think did it, starting with Princess Ember? Who do you think did it?
Well, Inspector, I think it could be the second cook on the left. He's not as nice as the third cook on the left.
Yes, or the third cook on the right, like you mentioned earlier. So, Billy the Bellhop, who do you think did it?
Well, like I said before, Inspector, we don't go near that Anathese. We know what she can do. She could definitely do this. I think it might be her.
There we are. Anathese, who do you think did it?
But it wasn't me.
And Princess Crystal, who do you think did it?
Well, my instant thought was Princess Ember. She's got all of the reason to be angry with her sister.
That's slander, dear.
Just to check before I carry on with questions in the comment section, D.I. Wendon and Constable Catherine, do you have any questions for the meantime?
I've got a question for Billy. When was the last time that you were transformed by Princess?
I was only transformed the once. She did try other dark arts things. Like she swapped around my facial features at one point. So my eyes were where my mouth was, my mouth was where my eyes were, and things like that. But the only transformation was the goat. It was horrible to see. But also, I did have a laugh with my eye out.
Sorry, I need a minute on that one.
Can you imagine it, Inspector? My eyes were here, and my mouth, it was here. My ears, they were ears.
Yes. Detectives at home, this is my career. Sorry.
This is my ears.
Yeah, this is your career too, Billy. Sorry, D.A. Wendon. Any other questions?
I can talk some more about the dark arts that happened if you like, Inspector.
I think we'll go back to the comment section. ITM Games Group would like to know, where was Princess Ember yesterday, and have you been to Anathese's house lately?
What?
Have you been to Anathese's house recently, or have you been to the Wicked Witch's cottage?
No, I've jogged past it. I like to keep fit, so I always do a regulation 20 minutes a day, and I've jogged past it and given her the wave.
Okay, so you've jogged past, but you've never gone in. So
That's
Tim,
right, I've got the Fitbit.
you've got the Fitbit. That's good for a mythical
That's
kingdom.
right.
Tim Tompkins, do you need a wand to cast a disguise spell? I think we've established that no, you don't need a wand. It's just the potion that you require. Donna Gray wants to know how many people are at the ball and what was the ball for. I don't think anyone really knows the numbers. A couple of hundred, we're guessing.
Couple of hundred coats, yeah.
There we are, a couple of hundred coats for a couple of hundred people. The ball, just for anyone who missed it earlier, was a suitor's ball for Princess Aquaria, because she needs to find a husband quickly, because if she doesn't find someone within the next 2 weeks by her 21st birthday, she will lose her place in line to the throne. Mark Randall, Billy, do you like apples?
Me?
You're the only one called Billy.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Sorry, hopefully I thought there was going to be sort of a subtle curveball there. Eileen 21, where did the apples come from? I presume that the cooks just ordered it themselves.
They come from trees, normally.
Thanks, Billy. Thanks. So let's just double check a couple of extra ones. No, I'm not broken, and yes, I'm enjoying what's in my special mug. I'm going to go back. I'll tell you what, D.I. Wendon and Constable Catherine, any last questions from you, I will take them now, and then I'll use that time to quickly find some last questions in the comment section as well.
No, I think we're overwhelmed.
Oh.
I know the feeling. So, just to clarify, Stephen Lang asked, when did Aquaria tell Billy that she didn't love him? This was yesterday when this happened, or earlier than that? Oh, I'm seeing a denial from Billy and a non. So, Crystal, was this yesterday when it happened?
Didn't happen.
Billy, my dear, it did happen. And she had the conversation yesterday, but poor Billy, he was crying all day today. I know you said you had something in your eye, but I don't think both eyes cry if one thing is in one of them. So he was crying all of today. I don't think he was quite over it, the poor thing.
The late girl asked, where were all of the suspects at the time of the robbery? So this was, I presume this is referring to when Anathese's cottage was robbed. So Anathese, you were collecting witch hazel at the time, correct? We can presume from the silence of the Wi-Fi stalling that yes, she was.
She's turned herself to stone.
Yes, it's even scarier. We'll just quickly take it from. I can see Constable Catherine has a question, so I'll just quickly answer from these three, and then we'll take your question, Constable Catherine. So, Princess Ember, where were you around the time of the robbery yesterday?
I think I was at home doing a crossword. I haven't finished it yet.
There we are. Billy the Bellhop, where were you during the robbery yesterday evening?
What time was the robbery?
The robbery, I believe, was late yesterday evening.
Oh, by then we would have been setting everything up for the ball.
Oh, she unfroze. That was quite scary. And then finally, Princess Crystal, where were you yesterday evening?
I was making the final touches to the arrangements for the ball.
There we are.
She's back.
She's back. Constable Catherine. Oh, you've moved. Constable Catherine, what was your question?
My question was, Billy, did Aquara, I think that's her name, like apples?
Yes, she did. Yes.
Okay, which was obviously, which is why she was quite happy to accept that apple, which we believe was poisoned as well. Do you know what? I'm seeing a couple of things in a similar vein that are repeating themselves in the comment section. I think you all probably got a rough idea what's going on now. So, I would like to now know your conclusions. So I'm looking for who you believe killed Princess Aquaria and why. So it also, in brackets, who is our secret Prince Lorenzo? So who killed Princess Aquaria and why? I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to start writing your conclusions into the comment section now. Also, whilst D.I. Wendon and Constable Catherine decide theirs. In that time, if you have got your conclusions straight away, do you know what you can do? You've got your hands free. You don't need to type anything. So why don't you click on that donation link, and remember 20% goes towards our charity of the week, CDS, the Community Driving School. A completely shameless plug, and that came out worse than I thought it would. But yeah, 20% goes to CDS, our charity of the week, and 80% is split between the performers. You've got a couple of minutes. Remember, it's not me and it's not suicide. We'll be back in a couple of minutes. Thank you very much, detectives.
No thanks.
Okay, hello again, detectives. Thank you very much for your conclusions. There's a good balance of there. Oh, Wicked Witch has run away. That's definitely not suspicious at all, just before it happens. But as we know, the dark powers of a Wicked Witch and 5G don't blend together very nicely. And that also has nothing to do with potentially who's the murderer. I'm going to go with our guest detectives first. D.I. Wendon and Constable Catherine, do you have a conclusion?
We do. We believe that the murderer was Princess Ember.
Princess Ember? Why Princess Ember?
Because she was unhappy that her sister had found a way to become the next in line to the throne, and wanted to get her sister out of the way so that she'd be next in line to the throne. She knew that her sister was desperate to marry. She mentioned earlier that she used to jog past Anathese's cottage, so there was an opportunity to get to know Anathese's dog.
Yes.
So that if she broke in the night before, the dog wouldn't bark because the dog knew her. She also had an opportunity. She said she went to the pantry to liaise with the cooks. We believe she took an apple at that point, then used her fake meeting in the maze garden to disguise herself as Lorenzo, knowing her sister was desperate to marry, and would fake an apple from her second suitor.
So you think she used the potion when she was in the hedge maze, and when she was flirting with the third chef on the right, I believe, and that was when she stole an apple, so she'd be able to poison her sister as a revenge for the fact that Aquaria altered the royal decree, so she would lose her place to the throne.
Yeah.
What a vivid imagination, dear.
But it's a very well thought out theory, I'll give it that. So let's see our thinking from the detectives at home. Let me scroll up a little bit. So let's look in a similar vein. Richard Hill, Princess Ember has a motive, had access to the apple, knew where Anathese lives, and could have stolen the potion. So, Drac Ven, Crystal, so Daddy could become king and therefore she'd become queen, even if her little brother inherited. Mark Randall, Anathese did it, no more. Eileen 21, Billy the Bellhop, because she didn't love him and he knew the dogs didn't bark when she died. And when he said when it was under the coats, he wasn't, he was being Prince Lorenzo. Sue and Kyle again, Crystal did it. Alice Young, Billy, Ian Foster, Crystal, Scott, Billy. Nice. I will say, I like the fact that we're getting quite an eclectic mix of conclusions here this evening. Geraldine Bailey, Princess Crystal killed Princess Aquaria because she wants to be queen. She took the wand because she thought she needed it for the spell and broke it when she found out she didn't need it. Hannah Booth, Billy killed her. Billy killed her. Billy killed her. Billy, it's really not looking good for you here. A lot of what? Tom Orford, that apparently he's blaming the third chef from the right on this one. Maisie Cutts, Billy has lust for blood in his eyes, and also Maisie Cutts said she killed herself. As said, it's not me and it's not suicide. Can you imagine if it was? How boring would that be at the end? Might do that one week. So Steve J, Billy, Tracy Inglis, Carol Baskin killed her because apparently in the land of Mercia, our comedy works 8 weeks later. Then Katie Holmes, Mr. Buttons. Mr. Buttons isn't here. Rutherford, hang on. Maisie Cutts, Rutherford killed her in a jealous alcoholic rage.
Now we'll get into it.
Maisie Cutts,
I
have moderator access. I'm going to put you in a timeout for that one. So again, there's a lot of. It seems like a real nice mix there. So I think it's probably time that I reveal all for you. Let's start by reviewing the facts of the case again. Just briefly, so Princess Aquaria was found dead at the stroke of midnight in the drawing room near to the main ballroom. Seems she stumbled into that room having taken ill. We believe she'd been poisoned and there was residue of apple on her lips. So we believe it was most likely a poisoned apple that killed her. There was that broken magic wand of Mathilda's next to her. As well, she'd spent the evening speaking to this mysterious Prince Lorenzo all night, who had been witnessed offering her an apple, but Prince Lorenzo was nowhere to be found, and he's a fake alias because we've found the cloak, the regal clothing, the fake invitation, and the disguise potion. So let's go through our suspects in tow, because we can't confirm where any of them were. Let's start with Anathese before the dark magic takes its play again. Now, when it comes to princesses dying from a poisoned apple, I mean, you'd be first in our suspect books. It's right up your street in the family business. Master of dark arts and a family history of placing royals under curses. Most likely, as said, your mother even put Lord Lucas of Newia under a 30-year sleeping spell. It had been
Rotterdam. Sorry.
Yes, such a shame. But it was also revealed that your cottage, you'd arrived back yesterday evening and all of your potions had been stolen. But also, not only you arrived back to that, you'd also, prior to this, arrived back to Princess Aquaria turning up and blackmailing you. for the fact that she wanted to learn to be a master in the dark arts, and if she wasn't, then the villagers would come and burn your cottage down. Perhaps you'd had enough of the blackmail and you just want to be free to go off and sell your perfume. Or perhaps you just couldn't resist the opportunity for one more evil curse towards the royals. Let's move on to Billy the Bellhop, though. Bottom of the pile this evening, quite literally under a pile of coats. You'd fallen head over heels in love for Princess Aquaria, yet she didn't feel the same way back to you. Quite the opposite, where he was heard crying when he heard that Aquaria was nothing but a plaything. So, as well, you were quite knowledgeable about disguise potions, considering Aquaria had used you literally as a plaything and turned you into a goat for a couple of days. Maybe this time you decide to try one of those potions on yourself. You could transform into this mysterious Prince Lorenzo, and let's face it, if no one could have Princess Aquaria, neither could you. You could have potentially killed her off as a crime of passion, but you would have still been able to enjoy one last night of romance with her, or one first night of romance with her. Then we have the unfortunate older sister of the deceased Princess Ember. Now, Crystal revealed that Aquaria had changed the royal decree to say if a princess was unmarried by her 21st birthday, she would lose her place in line to the throne. Killing your sister would never change the fact, but maybe it was a revenge for such cruel treatment the way she'd been speaking to her for all these years. The problem is, though, as I said, even if you did kill her off, you still wouldn't be able to take the throne. That's in royal decree. It's been put that if you were not married by your 21st, you would never be able to take the place of the throne. And with Aquaria dead, that leads to the question as to who will take over the kingdom of Emmerson. Who's next in line? I mean, there's no descendants. So rather than going down on the royal family tree, you would have to go across. And that would be Princess Crystal. Now, it is said how Princess Crystal... Let's ignore the fact that I've just been hit in the face with a clamp and we'll carry on. It has been said that Princess Crystal lost her entitlement to her own throne of Heightendale. So instead, maybe you were planning to take over the kingdom of Emmerson. You'd seen that Aquaria had been dabbling in the dark arts and decided that you'd have a go by yourself. You hatched a little plan. Upon arrival, Billy said he sent your luggage to the room. And then he also sent a tart to 10. Which one of our detectives had asked the contents of it, which I believe is made of apples, one of the key ingredients there. What you did is you used the reconstruction potion, which you thanked Anathese for giving you for a broken mirror earlier on, and you reconstructed the apple from the tart to 10, so there you were there. You had your apparatus of the apple. After doing the usual niceties at the ball, you claimed to take ill, and you watched Aquaria reject every suitor, so that was your chance to return to your room, use the transformation spell which you stole from Anathese, and because you claimed where you were yesterday at the time of the robbery, you said you were preparing for the ball. However, Billy said he was taking your luggage this evening, so it means you wouldn't have arrived at the kingdom yet because you were too busy staying nearby and stealing from Anathese's cottage, and you planned to transform into Prince Lorenzo. To be safe, you stuck into the ball in a fake name, using the bewitching spell that you also stole to get Princess Aquaria to consume the poison apple and escape. You could then return to your room, only it seems the spell wore off a little quicker than you thought, which is why we found the clothes and the cloak nearby, because you didn't have a chance to dispose of them in your room. I'll be honest, you managed to get there pretty unnoticed, and what would happen now is you could go off and you could marry Baron Frederick of Otterton, and that way you'd be married by the time of your 21st birthday. Although you'd never get the kingdom of Heightendale, you'll be fully entitled to the kingdom of Emmerson. I mean, it's quite a good plan, but the only mistake was that you just got a little bit too arrogant for your own cause, trying to pin it on everyone else. Such a shame, Princess Crystal. Am I on the right track?
Well, Inspector, it's just... Fine. Yes, I did kill my cousin, but it wasn't from a nastiness or from anything other than the fact she was a lousy princess. She was going to run that beautiful kingdom into the ground. I was all happy when I thought that her older sister was going to take the throne before her, but then when she made sure she used dark magic to make sure that could never happen, I couldn't bear it. But I thought at first, well, if I'm in line for the kingdom of Heightendale, I can perhaps do something about it then. But that all changed when my brother was born, and he took over our throne's family line, and I thought I just can't do it anymore. So, yes, I acted rationally, and I did kill my cousin, but I thought I'd get away with it when you've got a wicked witch on the doorstep, a little puppy dog of a servant, and an older sister with the best motive you could have asked for. I didn't think anyone would ever point the finger at me.
Well, I'm afraid I did. Well, that gives me one very important thing to say. D.I. Wendon, Constable Catherine, congratulations. You have somewhat successfully caught the killer, but suspects give them a modest round of applause. Well done, everybody, for playing. D.I. Wendon, Constable Catherine, have you enjoyed yourself this evening?
Yes.
Fantastic. We're delighted to hear it. Thank you so much for playing with us this evening. If you've enjoyed tonight's case, it has been brought to you by Moonstone Murder Mysteries. And if not, you have been watching Murder on the Orient Express, the panpipe rock opera. So it's something a little bit different for you. As said, if you have as well, you can see thank you so much for everyone who has donated so far. Donation, you can find the link in the About section of this video, and 20% goes towards the Charity of the Week, the Community Driving School, with 80% being split between the performance itself. If you don't have anything to spare, we understand away from here in the Kingdom of Mercia, well, 3/4 of the Kingdom of Mercia, but don't know what happened with that bit. In 3/4 of the Kingdom of Mercia, we're aware that times are tough at the moment, so if you haven't got anything to spare, all we ask is if you have enjoyed it, please give us a like, subscribe to the channel, and please share the link to this case. It's completely free for everyone to play along, and we want as many detectives joining us next week as possible, where we're back for our penultimate case of Series 2, where I'll be stepping into the fashion world, where someone is quite literally dressed to kill. For now, stay safe, and we'll see you all back on the case soon. Good night.